Wholeness, balanced vibrations, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to another Sacred Light conversation. I am your host that is holding the space, Marcus, aka Crystal Light 33. Today we have a very special guest. He's one of my greatest brothers that I've connected with in the last couple of years. Very talented artist, very passionate about diving deep into knowledge and spirituality, discovering self. Um, he goes by Mr. abILLity, and our topic today for the conversation is going to be on the principles or qualities of yin and yang energies. So I'll go ahead and hold the floor open for Mr. abILLity so he can go ahead and preach
Well,
the truth.
thank you kindly, good sir, man. I appreciate the introduction. And of course, thank you for having me.
Absolute
And
honor.
I know you already know about yin and yang because, just we all kind of know a little bit, but it seems like this far out poetic expression. People don't realize that, it's an actual thing. A lot of times people just associate yin and yang with just two opposites. Be like, oh, red and blue, yin and yang, up and down, yin and yang. But
Right.
they're actual, they're energies, man. They have real characteristics and things like that, because what yin and yang is supposed to symbolize is the wholeness in ourselves. So, when you say things like wholeness, vibrations, that's good because that's where we're supposed to be. And I got a little rhyme to remember what's yin and what's yang. And I talk about this shit so often that I came up with a little jingle for it, which I didn't do intentionally, but it kind of came,
Mhm.
So, as we're whole, you and I, we happen to be men. We have a whole side. We have a feminine side and a masculine side. All of us do, it's not gender related. But, the yin is within feminine, because that's what the yin side is. It's the more feminine, the compassionate, it's the heart-centered side. So yin is within feminine. While yang likes to hang like your thing, because it's outside. It's external. I know it's a little,
Hey,
it's a
that's
little
memorable there.
like, hey, listen, don't tell the kids this, but it's yang. So it's yang, it's masculine. If that even works.
Dude,
a little.
it's gonna be hard for me to forget after that, honestly.
Yo. yeah, I can see that. But yeah, what's funny about these two things, because a lot of times people kind of go into like stereotypes, like, because yin is heart-centered, right? So if yin is heart-centered, this is all broken down in dualistic terms, so it's like one is this and the other is the other. But it's not to say that one person cannot have both traits, because we are supposed to be balanced, like you see, so the yin is the feminine, while the yang is the masculine. And that even works in our bodies, man. Even nature goes by this principle, because yin is within. And if you look at a woman's private parts, hers go within.
Yeah.
While a man goes outside of himself. Like his stuff ain't within, it's outside. So even in nature, it's the same principles. And just like with, if you're familiar, which I know you are, with sacred geometry, that one very symbolic geometric pattern of the flower of life, it's all circles. It's all circles. And that is a feminine sign, because curves are actually feminine, while straight lines are masculine, which is why I had it a second ago. Metronome's cube. That's the one. You know the one.
Yeah, Metatron.
That one is balanced because it has the line work and the circles. Because circles are feminine. If you look at shape, look at a woman's shape. They got the curves. Because curves themselves are feminine, while straight lines are masculine. And it's in our subconscious too, bro, because look at writing, man. And I noticed this when I was younger, and I never quite put it all together until recently. But yo, even when you watch a girl write, when they're just writing, usually it's big and mad circular. Everything is circular. It's very curvy the way they write. While men usually write straight. Like there's no curves in the E for most dudes. It's like line work. It's a lot of line work. While when women write, it's very curvy. And even cursive itself, man, I would write cursive and people would be like, oh, this is nice handwriting. It looks like a woman wrote it. And it's because it's curved. So naturally, even without even being taught these things, we associate curves with feminine, with yin, which with heart,
Right.
with all of that stuff. There we go. There we go. Bang. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. See, so that has both the circles and the straight lines. And it shows that, you know, that has more balance. While there's also the flower of life is just all the curves. And then there's a male equivalent to the same pattern, which has just the lines. And that one I'm not even familiar with the name of, to be honest. But I know that it's all about balance. You know, it's all about balance. So the more that you're able to kind of put the two and two together, the more that it just makes sense. And even with the flower of life, when you see it large enough, those intersecting circular parts turn into straight lines. Because, yeah, the more, if you max out at yin, you're going to get yang. And if you max out at yang, you're going to get yin. Like if you're doing nothing but straight lines and creating shapes, and you do that for like, I mean, look at pixels, for example. Pixels are squares. So by, you know, definition of yin and yang, pixels are straight lines. But if you have enough pixels and you zoom out far enough, you can make plenty of circles with straight lines. And it's just pixelated, but you register the circle. So when you max out at straight lines, you'll get curves. Just how if you max out at curves, you'll get straight lines. And what I've been reading through the yin and yang is, you know, in like, for example, if you over yang yourself with being active and activities and you're just busy all the time, yo, you're gonna max out and get some yin because your ass is gonna knock the fuck out. You ain't gonna have no choice in the matter. You are gonna be done. Just like when you meditate and you're super still for a long time, at some point you reach the zenith and either you need to move or you start seeing visuals and there's motion. So you can max out and get right back to the other one because that's just the natural way. You're supposed to have balance. And if you are imbalanced, even at your extremity, you're going to get back in balance. It's more like a forced, less healthy balance because you got to be forced into it. And then even then they're not in balance because you max out at one, you're just going to get the opposite. So you'll have both opposites, but no balance.
Yeah, I can see that from my own experiences with like for example, too much yang, just overworking yourself. Say you have a job and you're working so much, then on top of that, you're going out and doing all these other things for people, running errands. After a while, you get drained, and then you just are forced to like have to rest and sit back.
Yeah.
And then with the over yin or yin, I could see that as well because there's been times where I've done like long meditations, like an hour or so, and after a while, like so much chi and energy just builds up within me. Like it feels like I'm almost like about to explode or something.
Right. You got to do something with it.
Yeah, I have to go do something with it, or else like it just gets super uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So balance is really the key, man. Like, and it's funny because we can like I've been reading several different versions of all this yin and yang stuff, and it all boils down, it's all traditional Chinese knowledge, so it all boils down to the same core principles of what is. And I was so immersed in my readings of these that I can associate everything with yin and yang because it all just comes back to it. It all just makes sense, like for example, I'll tell you, for example, if I meet somebody new, and I associate it back to yin yangs because to me that's the least common. It all goes back to this: you either have balance, or if you don't have balance, there's a lot of traits that are associated with that. For example, I recently met somebody who's new to the area, and he seemed cool, and we're talking, and going back to how everything is either yin or yang, and if it's yin, then there's a yang for it, and you can figure out what's what. So with people and personality types, there's givers and there's takers. The givers are usually the people who are yin because they're in their heart. They have all this space to give. Those are usually the people who get drained or taken advantage of, or some people might just call them suckers. They've got a lot of different names, and there's a lot of different levels to givers, just like there's a lot of different levels to takers, right? Because a taker can be a manipulative bastard, or it can just be somebody who doesn't realize that they're like over exerting and they're not connected with themselves, so they don't see in the other person's face like, yo, bro, you still borrowing shit from me, and they could be a little bit dim-witted, but it's because they're not inside themselves enough to know, because they're too busy being outside taking and things of that nature. So if I meet somebody who the first time we meet, we have a small little chit chat, and all they're doing is talking about themselves, like the whole thing. And they're not even curious about who I am. I'm like, oh, this guy's yang as shit, man. He likes to do, he doesn't like to be. Because even to listen to someone, you have to be to listen. So I'm like, oh, this guy, he doesn't really listen well. He's more of a talker, which is fine. But I know I can't really fuck with him if I have something to say, because he ain't gonna listen. He's giving me that right from the door that we just met. And if we have a 15-minute conversation and it's all about them, and I'm like, oh, this is both new space, new time for both of us. And he's monopolizing it all with just like, yo, you know how many followers I got? And he's doing this shit. And I'm like, oh, he's somebody that he's here for himself, which is fine. You could be here for yourself. That's how manifesting happens. You manifest things with intention and with purpose, but usually you got to have something to it. It can't just be like, yo, it can't be hollow,
Mm-hmm.
It's hollow, So when I see people like that, I know that in order to get by, I got to be yin. Because if we yang out, because when somebody's yang, and if you respond with yang, nobody's going to listen. He could be talking about his followers. I could talk about my followers. He could talk about his poetry. I could talk about my artwork. But in reality, it's almost like a competition of who can actually control the conversation. Because this guy, I can tell that what I'm saying isn't registering with him usually, because he's going off so much that he's not absorbing anything I'm saying, because there's no yin to the conversation. So I know these people like that, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll be here if I want to practice my listening muscle. I'll be like, oh, I'll hit him up if I feel like listening, because he ain't gonna listen and he ain't gonna let me talk. So you notice the balance between things, and then you're able to choose more wisely. Like, for example, if you peep that, then you can't be mad at somebody who doesn't know how to listen because they don't listen. You can't be like, yo, this guy fucking never listens. It pisses me off. When the whole time you've noticed that he don't listen. So it kind of helps you to understand what you want from that. Either you're there, so you could work on something for you, or you can set up boundaries and be like, you know what? I don't really like people like this. I've had enough of it. Let me just chill the fuck out and work somewhere that is more balanced. Because there's nothing wrong with people like that. It's just they have an imbalance because they only talk, they don't listen. So you can find yourself to be more balanced by being around others who are as well. Because then all he's gonna let you do is listen. And if your listening is really good and you don't feel like you need to be just a listener, then you're just, I don't know, you're not there, or you have no participation in the conversation. And the conversation is not a lecture, you know what I mean? Like, it's a two-way street.
Yeah, it's exchange of energy.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Just like that's an over yang example, but there could be over yin example too, man. Where there's like this, because yin is a number of things, man. It's you can, if you want to keep it real simple, you could imagine yin as like a picture, like what you want the most ideal wife to be, like those characteristics, because yin is listening. It's supportive. It's soft. It's the
Uh,
soil plant seeds into. You know, it's like a very good um queen, you know, because a queen is a queen to a king. So it's kind of like the strong hand on the side. Not strong, or should I say not weak because it's on the side, but very strong at the side.
yeah.
And the thing about that is whenever we push all this equality that the woman could do anything stuff, all of the stuff we're talking about are yang traits. You know, it's, oh, go out there, be assertive, be full of action, take risks or take control, do this. And it's forcing the feminine, which is naturally more yin, to be more yang. And if a woman wants to be yin and be like, yo, but I wanna be supportive, I wanna be gentle, they're like, oh, stop being a pussy, come on, we got that, and it's just like, yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like a lot of this world is it's like a trap, man. It's like a trap because it takes from the natural world and it manipulates it into whatever the outcome wants to be.
Mm.
Because, yo, as you know, man, the system that we live in is very yang, very take control. You know, people get taken advantage of. Even money is determined by worth, which is all things external to ourselves. You know, you work at a place outside of yourself. That's why a lot of times business is considered balanced, because you're taking your passion, your yin, your inside heart fire, and you're putting it into use to this outside world, you know, by whatever your business may be, you know, which is what everyone tries to seek to do, because that balance is key. But people go from being super yang and then trying to go to the middle without finding out what their yin is. Like, that's why a lot of people who may have money may be like, yo, I want to start a business, but they don't have no passion. They fuck around and be like, oh, I want to open a laundromat. Like, what are you passionate about? Dirty clothes, motherfucker? What are you trying? What are you here for, bro? You know what I mean? And they don't know what their yin is because they haven't gone that way. Like, I know for me, man, I used to be a very yang person because my yin was very sad, man. I used to be very sad when I was younger, and I would be outside myself. Was very, you know, these things that are outside of yourself, it's a presentation, you know, because who you are and who you actually are is inside yourself. So the yin is the genuine you, while the yang is what others can see, because yang is external. So it's your presentation. It's how you look. It's how others speak of you. It's all, it can be genuine and it can be helpful, but people focus on only that part without working on the actualization of who you are, not just who they think you are, but who you actually are, you know?
So, listening to
Yeah.
the last part, something kind of just drew to my mind was thinking about our sun and moon signs. You know, the sun as the masculine and moon as the feminine. So, like,
Right.
sun sign is like that outer appearance, what people see when you're presenting yourself to them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the moon sign is who you are in the heart. And, you know, the moon's associated with the feminine energies. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting to kind of correlate that and put that together.
Yeah. And I don't want to get all conspiracy theory on you, but if you know anything about the kids these days, they've removed cursive handwriting out of schooling. They're like really trying to get the heart out of stuff in these weird symbols,
Heard about that.
because it's there, man. It's there. They're removing the heart, because the way that the world works, man, is over yang. So the only way we're going to be saved is by some yin, just to have balance. So they're removing any form of that. You know what I mean? Even in handwriting, it's so simple, man. But I peep that and I'm like, oh man, that's crazy, you know? And like I was saying with the feminist movement, it's they're yanging all of the yin. And there's nothing wrong if you want to do that. If you're in balance, you could be as yang as you want. But if you haven't explored your yin, they're trying to take it away from you before you can explore it. The same thing with dudes, man. You know, we've got fucking feelings, man. We got feelings. We got things that are inside of us other than just organs. But if you ever go towards that side, you know, they start shit talking usually. People, it's not usually given a safe space for men to just express their feelings. But with that 2020 energy, I've seen that they do have healing circles for men, man, out in Cali and out in these, spots that are really in tune with themselves. And they're going to be everywhere. But certain spots are starting to realize the power in that balance, man, because you never want too much, yo. You never want too much. There's got to be harmony. So, if you're over yang, you got to bring that yin in, and if you're over yin, you got to bring that yang, because another over yin situation, and I say this from time to time, but it's like, let's say, creativity is something that comes from within. So creativity is a yin trait, Most of the yin shit is invisible because the yang is the visible physical world, while the yin is kind of like the behind the scenes. And creativity you can't see until someone expresses it. So until someone yangs creativity, you can't see it. It's just in our heads, in our hearts, in our dreams. It's invisible somewhere. But if you're in an over yin situation, like let's say there's a handful of artists and we're gathering together at like I don't know, let's say I'll use what I know best, and let's say there's a mural design coming up, and they're like, oh, we got a big wall, let's get 5 artists together so we can work on an idea. And let's say you get a bunch of artists who are maybe overly creative, and gender doesn't even matter, just they're very yin because they're very creative people. I know people who are not artists, but they're very creative people. Side note, boop. I know people who come up with some great ideas, man. Though, like, we'll be talking, having a chat, and I'll be like, yo, it'd be cool if something like this existed. And they're like, you know what, you should make something like that. It'd be great. You know what, you could do it, and it'd probably look this, and they'll create the whole image in their head and share it with us and be like, all right, you should make that. And then they'll leave and they'll never create. But they'll have the creative gears shifting, and they'll just like throw ideas around, but they never do them because I'm not an artist, or I'm not a handyman, I can't build that, or whatever. But they're very creative types. So they're very yin creative, but they're not yang with it. They don't know how to execute. So if you're in the room with a bunch of people like that, let's say there's a wall, there's a mural coming up, there's 5 artists together, and we all have ideas. And let's say we got a couple hours to come up with a sketch. If we're exchanging ideas, we may have to bring our 5 different ideas together. It may take a while to gel one cohesive idea, but if you're too creative, the idea is going to shift over and over. Someone's going to be like, oh, that'd be great, but yo, on this side, we should add something like that. Oh, that's a good idea, you know what? And then balance, and if no one yangs the fucking idea, it never gets to exist because it's too busy being creative in the invisible realm of, our creativity. Mm-hmm. So if you're in a room like that, in order to get through the situation, somebody's going to have to yang it out. Someone's going to have to step up and grab the pencil, grab the paint. Someone's going to have to make a move, because you don't want over yin. You need some kind of balance, And that's why I've learned balance is the best route to go.
Yeah. I know for myself, I used to be very, very yin, like the creative thoughts. Mm-hmm. Being a Gemini sun sign, I would have like a lot of just creativity and intellect going on in my mind, but I kind of had that block of materializing it. And that's something that I've started working with like the past 2 years, is really just pushing forward and just doing it and making myself start something externally. And then like once I start it, it just flows pretty beautifully. But yeah, I know like with us too, like I've had like some good ideas, and then having someone like you who is very proactive with just making the art, it'd be very handy for having that balance between me and you, with like my creative ideas and then presenting them to you to create.
Yes, it is about that balance, man, It really is. Because the reason why I got so comfortable making, and the reason also why it's tricky for us to step into the yang, is because we have this idea, and the idea is perfect in our head. So we're scared to fuck it up by bringing it outside, because we may not execute it properly, or we may not, it may not come out to the way that we want, or even worse, might think it's shitty, which sucks because then we feel shitty.
Yep.
And what I actually did to overcome that is I did a lot of things shittily, and then I got better because I was like, oh, of course it's gonna be shitty the first time. The only reason why my art is decent is because all of the years I spent making shitty art, I was a kid, so I didn't care because all my art was shitty in the beginning. But I had a mom who was fucking would tell me that it was the best, and she believed in me and all that shit. So I just kept drawing, and then eventually it started being good. But that's how I did it with the art. But that's just through life. You don't realize that. But once I got interested in making stencils and spray paint, I was scared to do that because I was like, yo, I have the perfect idea. It'd be so wonderful, like just it was beautiful in my mind, and I didn't know how to do it outside. So I was scared that I would turn that beautiful thing into a mess outside. But I tried it, and I fucked up a couple times, man. You can't erase paint, bro. You cannot. If you are going out in the middle of the night and spray painting some shit, you can't erase it if you fucked up. And you don't got the time to sit there and fix it. You got to hurry the fuck up. So I made some messes, man.
Yeah.
But after I made the messes, then I learned to kind of tidy up the messes. Because you make the mess, and then you're like, all right, you know what? Next time I need to do it like this. And you realize that, yo, next time you can make it better. So you just, see, it's the combination. Because you have to yang the idea in order to have balance. And then once you have balance, you can refine it. Because once you have an idea taken outside of yourself, you can be like, you know what, that's too messy. And I'll tell you which spray painting stencils in particularly. If you spray paint too close, then they drip. And then you have a drip mark that you don't want because it fucks up the design. If you spray paint too far, then it almost looks like it fades. Like it's not concrete. It's too fuzzy. So you got to go between, like, you got to make mistakes. You have to make mistakes to find out which the right ones are. And I made plenty of mistakes, man. I made plenty. And you know what? Shout outs to you, my friend, because I see you pulling that image up. And yo, that image and what you said about it. When I drew that, I was in, I'm going to call it a slightly abstract phase. Because the way I was coloring it, I was just kind of like doing it quick like that. And I liked how it looked because it kind of like gave it style. And I was like, oh, I like this style, man, because I don't have any, I don't know. I felt like I didn't really have any particular style. So when I would do it like that, I was like, yo, I like the style that this came out in. And then you were like, yo, bro, we look like holograms. Did you do that shit on purpose? I was like, oh shit, these motherfuckers do look like holograms. And I wasn't aiming for it or nothing. I was just kind of like coloring it in this stylistic way. But then I liked how it looks because it looked like you can still see all the colors, but it's like unique. Like there's something unique about it. So then when I went back to my chakra series and I was doing all these fuckers meditating, I stuck with that whole thing. I was like, fuck it, it's holographic, and I just kind of, I liked it for, whenever we do shit, man, we can do it for a period of time and call it a chapter of our life. We don't have to dedicate our whole existence to it. It could just be like, yo, I'm gonna do this shit now and just try it out, see how it feels. Mm-hmm. When you call it that way, it gives you more freedom. Because if not, you might feel like, oh my God, this is me. This is my whole thing. I don't want people to associate. And that's all yang. That's all ego, man. That's all outside of ourselves. Yeah. That's how we believed. That's how people look at the things we create. Because that's not even us, man. That drawing is not me. That's just something that, you and I forged. But a lot of the times we think of stuff and we're like, oh, that's me. But that's a mark you left. That's not who you are. That's just your mark.
Yeah.
And use that a lot.
I feel like you also develop a lot more patience with yourself too, whenever you just kind of realize that, like, it's not do or die if you
exactly.
And like, even when it comes to like my music and stuff, like I used to be like, so like, all right, this has to be perfect. And then this has to reach like thousands of people, or like, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Probably it's going to stop music if it doesn't reach people and people don't like it. And then it's like, I just started learning, like, I just gotta be patient, man. Like, it doesn't happen overnight, and it's a process. And plus, when you understand yourself and you see the talent that you have, and other people are even telling you that you're really talented, you know, you have a gift, and you just gotta be patient with the process so it can materialize for you. And like this picture, um, like you were saying, with the lines, I really did like it because it does look like a hologram. It um, looks like me and Aura are like basically materialized from the gold rays, just like down from it.
Yeah, you gotta look like some fucking Jedis too, man.
So this is one of the artworks that Mr. abILLity did for me. It's one of my cover arts for my music, and then some of his more personal stuff.
Oh man, yeah.
I never saw this one until today.
Yeah, that's a throwback, man. I can tell you were scrolling for a while. No, but this one I like because I like mashups, man. Mashups are see, I'm like even as an artist, bro, because is art itself is a balanced thing because it takes the yin and it brings it out with the yang.
Mm-hmm.
So it is it is totally very balanced. I used to think, it was a creative thing, and I used to, though I didn't think of the terms of yin and yang, I would have called art a yin thing because it deals with creativity and stuff like that. But every yin you can break down into a yin yang, just like every yang can be broken down to a yin yang. I'll explain this one, for example. This as artwork is balanced, but it's not just artwork that emulates reality perfectly. It's a creative piece of artwork because there are artists out there who can do lifelike photorealistic portraits, and it could be of anybody. It could be of their father. It could be of a stranger. They'll do it for money, and it'll be lifelike. People will be like, is that a picture? They'd be like, nah, that's some pencil and a lot of patience. And that artwork is perfect. That artwork I do not excel in because a lot of my artwork is from the creative side. So even in something that is artistic, or in something that is very yin-like, like art, I'm even yin with the yin. I'm like double yin with the art because my art is more creative. It's more imaginative. It's more fun. It's emotional. Like it'll make you feel something. It's like emotional art. Or a lot of times when you tell people, what?
I was just saying a lot of that inner child.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's all yin because all of that is the same type of energy. A lot of times when I tell people I'm an artist or it gets brought up that I'm an artist, they'll be like, oh, you can do portraits? And that is that yang art because it emulates reality perfectly. And
yeah.
I kind of do art to escape reality most of the times. So my art isn't really based in reality, but it can be because that's part of me too, man. You got to be whole. I know I may lean towards one way or another, but to be honest, look, here's some reality check. My insecurity and my lack of realism is showing because I'm bashing realism. I'm bashing it like it ain't shit. But it's not that it ain't shit. It's just that I'm not good at it. And I don't want to talk about me not being good at it unless it's shitty. And that's why I'm not good at it. Reality check 101. But the truth is, there's no good, there's no bad. It's just about wholeness. So that is a part of myself that I have not embraced yet because I'm not very good at realism. I like imaginative, fun stuff. But that's because I embrace that part of me more, so it's easier. So I just it's a matter of sticking with what you know. But I also like having fun, man. I don't know. So that obviously is a mashup between some Looney Tunes and some Street Fighter, man. That's the classic Ryu stage, man. Hadoukens and all that.
Yeah, this one really.
I like, man. I like doing mashups because it's fun. It takes your childhood and kind of reminds you of it and stuff like that. So
exactly.
Yeah, so a lot of my artwork is more yin. Even for something that is in itself yin, it's like yin. Yeah. Yeah, with that piece, I went a little. I mean, it's not super realistic, but it is more in reality with the little cityscape that's behind it. Try to do some Times Square and stuff, See, and in that piece, and this is the thing about art too, man. A lot of art is, yeah, buddy, I like that shirt. Yeah, but you know, a lot of art is symbolic, and symbolic is the visualization of how something feels. So I guess that too has a little bit of balance in it, because I usually would think that symbolism is all kind of like it isn't based off reality because they're symbols. You know, a lot of the symbols that we use aren't in our present day reality anymore, because symbolism is usually like a little picture of something. Like for example, if I drew a picture of Wi-Fi, you know, it's that little dot with the rays emanating from it, you would know that as Wi-Fi. But that's not in reality what the fuck Wi-Fi looks like. You can't, you know, it's a symbol. It's like a mental construct. It's imaginary almost. Because Wi-Fi, in reality, it don't have a look. But the symbolism of Wi-Fi connects the idea of Wi-Fi with the reality of these rays. You know what I mean? But it's, you know, it's weird because it gets a little abstract, I guess, after a while when you really break it down. But a lot of times with art, I use symbolism because let's say I'm feeling like if I'm stressed out with money, I may have a little drawing of a money bag punching me in the face because, you know, I feel like money's beating me up or something like that. Yeah. And that's like the creative side of art, but it brings it to reality because if I'm drawing myself in it, it's a little bit of the balance, you know, it's the yin and the yang of it all.
I feel like that's taking reality and then making it creative.
Right, exactly. See, that's why it's balanced, because it's taking from it. Yes, you are correct, my brother. Exactly what the fuck I was trying to say.
So I just wanted to kind of go over this a little bit.
Cool.
What exactly had you create this layout? So I see you have like the chakras on the side of the sunglasses.
Right.
You have the eye of Ra in the center, and then kind of like the flames around it. And then they probably can't see it because it's a little blurry when it comes to the words. But like inside of it, it says.
Let them know.
It says like obey, work, don't think, stuff like that.
Yeah, man. And you know what? If I may, I have a very yin yang story that goes with that mural perfectly. And lessons learned, you're gonna love this, bro. You are going to eat this alive. But it's a good meal. It's healthy. It's alkaline even. All right, so with that, as you may or may not be aware, there's a movie. It's called They Live. It's that exact premise where the guy had the glasses and was able to see reality as opposed to the normal everyday nonsense we see. You know, glasses gave him a bit of that third eye vision. So I want to do a concept like that because I feel like, you know, once you've read enough things, Yang, and you've learned enough things about the world around you, you begin to apply it to yourself, Yin. And once you start applying all of this stuff, you kind of have a new vision and you're able to see things more correctly. So this new vision, it's like the third eye. And in the movie, he had sunglasses. But I feel like if you really line up your chakras and you get that third eye and crown popping, it's the same type of vision. So I was like, oh, I want to pay homage to the movie and do some sunglasses where you could really see a visual of what life really is like. So I had to throw the chakras on the side because I'm like, yo, how do you know, it's that chakra vision is what it is. So I put the chakras on the side, and then I put the third eye chakra / eye of Ra in the middle, in the center, so you could really, really see it. And yo, when you see that vision, man, nothing really stop you. It's almost like you on fire, man. I mean, not in a literal sense, but you know, you feel unstoppable. You feel like you don't fall for the lies anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I painted that. And here's here's a side story that goes with that, and is a very important lesson that I had to deal with. So I painted the mural, and once it was done, and I would go back to do like the finishing touches, the just the last hurrahs. And the people, I was fortunate enough, man. I painted that on the side of like essentially kind of like a mechanic shop spot. And the dudes who were there, you know, they'd always be there. They'd be working on whatever they were working on. So I'd see them, they would chop it up with me. And after about a week or so, when I was done, I came back to kind of take pictures. And one of the guys told me, and this mural is in Jersey City, in the hood. I'm talking about in the hood. It's like off MLK. It's a hood spot. And I was grateful for it. No shade, no anything, just straight gratefulness. But the guy tells me, and he's like, yo, you know, people like the mural, man. They're coming by, they love the colors, they really like it, until they see this one part of it, and then they kind of get upset. And I was like, oh, what happened? What upset you? And he goes, yeah, they'd be fine. They'd be reading all the words, the same ones that you read. But then once they got to this one, it pissed them off. And it was, money is your God.
Oh, uh-oh.
They were like, money is your God. Money ain't my God. And then they got mad. They got aggravated. Like it triggered them in a way, you know? It triggered them to be like, yo, don't talk shit about my God. Money is not my God. What you talking about?
Yeah, because in that,
yeah,
sad to say, but like in that general living area,
yeah, man,
a big thing, and you can see it through the music, is going to get the money, and money for everything, money over bitches, stuff like that.
Right. So, you know, at first I got defensive, because most artists will defend their art, especially when people have something to say about it. Because, you know, art is meant to make people feel. So if these people are feeling some kind of way from the art, then God damn it, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So that was my initial stance on it. And so I told the guy, I was like, oh, well, that's the whole point, is that's how they treat us. They treat us like money is our God. You're supposed to get mad about it because, damn it, you know, we're worth more than that. That's not true. You're supposed to, that's the point. That's the point, you know? So I was kind of I was being very yang about the situation. Like, I was not being yin. I was not being compassionate. I was not being understanding. I was not listening. I was replying. I was reacting. I was force feeding my opinion of my artwork onto others. And the dude who told me he was one of the guys who owned the area. So he was like, yo, I'm just letting you know what the people think, because people have been saying this is how the people think. So it really didn't even have nothing to do with the guy. So me explaining all day to the guy didn't even matter, because the guy didn't have no issues with it. It was just the people. And he's like, and as I'm explaining, he tells me, he's like, yo, listen, man, you got to realize, man, this area, man, ain't got no philosophers around here, bro. There's fucking crackheads, and it's a fucked up place, man. They see that shit, they're gonna get mad. They're not gonna stare at it and be like, let me spend the rest of my day contemplating this shit. They got shit to do, man. So it rubbed them the wrong way. And I wasn't taking any accountability on that. I was yanging. And what it did was it brought me back to about a year before that. So flash rewind, flashback. I'm like, flash rewind, flashback. Flashback, flash rewind. I was trying to think of the opposite of the flash forward. I was like, what's the opposite of flash forward? Gotta be flash rewind. Wow. That's a flashback to about a year before, when I painted my Monopoly mural. When I painted my Monopoly mural, I was very proud about this thing. I got a lot of constructive feedback. A lot of people liked it. It was a Monopoly board, so it was playful. The kids would play on it. It had so much good energy, and the colors are real bright because it's Monopoly. So it had a lot of good energy to it. But in the square that says go to jail, I drew myself in jail just because it's my mural. I can do whatever the hell I want. And plus, you know, considering that artwork had kind of landed me in that predicament as it is, I thought it would be ironic, funny little twist. But as you can see by my skin tone, I mean, I'm a little light, but I'm a little tan. I'm a little bit of a mystery mix. People don't always know my ethnicity. When they see me, they'll be like, what are you? A lot of people give me that half black, half white. I could be anything, man. I could be an Arab. You don't know. I could be a tanned white guy. I could be anything. I'm very ambiguous in my racial nationality. So I use the tan, and it's just a caricature, man. It's not a lifelike portrait of myself. It's just a guy who looks like me, who, yeah, there we go, buddy. I knew you would do that because you're the fucking man. So, a lot of people liked what it was and thought it was cute and fun and all that. But when they saw the version of myself in jail, some black people came up to me and was like, yo, why is this black guy in jail? And I was like, oh, no, it's not this black guy in jail. It's me in jail. It's me in jail. I'm not doing some type of stereotype. It's myself, as it turns out. And then I would tell them, as it turns out, I wound up there because I painted shit like this, but now here I am painting shit like this and getting paid. It's a little bit of my own personal story mixed with just a fun piece, mixed with some inspiration, because a lot of the blocks, the chance card was take a chance on love, the railroads were the local light rail station. So it was my version, and even when I drew it up in the first place, it was just a personal piece. So it was like my version from the beginning. And then as it got commercialized, I had to change little bits and pieces there. Like, the cop couldn't be a pig. Obviously, if City Hall is paying me to do a mural, I can't have Porky Pig as the fucking cop. That's just common sense. I knew that, But, as I was painting, but the guy who was myself in jail, the character, that always got approved. They didn't have no issues. They weren't like, yo, listen, this black guy in jail is going to stir up controversy. Because it wasn't a black guy in jail. It was me in jail. I'm Puerto Rican and white. It's a white guy in jail who got a tan, man. It's me in jail. But, people are going to pass by and they're going to see a brown guy in jail and be like, yo, that's fucked up. We got enough brown guys in jail. And as I was painting that, people would come up to me and say that shit. And like I said, usually artists will defend their work, especially when there's good intention to it. It's not like I was trying to say anything fucked up. I wasn't even making a statement. I wasn't even like, you know what? There are too many black people in jail. That's why I did this, to show people. There wasn't even anything like that. It just caused a lot of fucking ruckus. And I was very yang with it. I just explained it, and I was like, listen, guys, this is me. I explained the whole shit. I was like, listen, I'm fucking Puerto Rican and white. This is this fucking Spanish guy in jail. It's not even a black guy in jail. Plus, if you think that's bad, it's a white guy in jail because I'm white too. I was explaining it. I was using all the logic. I was in my mind about it the whole time because my heart was on fire. I was pissed off about this shit. So I couldn't calm my yin was inaccessible. My yin was too fiery. It was too passionate. It was too yang. I wasn't able to get to a point where I was understanding of these people's concern. It even got to a point where it got chalk graffitied BLM. They put Black Lives Matter over that shit. Oh. And I was like, oh, this is not, I'm not being fucking racist, guys. And it was very aggravating. I had no compassion. I really didn't, because I felt like I was getting railroaded over something. So long story short is I stood by my ground. I was yang. I explained. City Hall said, yo, put an artist statement out there so people don't get tight. So I kept yanging. I didn't do anything internal. I didn't do any compassion. I didn't do any understanding. And I just yanged it out. And what happened was they painted over the whole shit because it was too controversial. And I didn't put into the people. And at this time, man, black people was getting killed like every week by the cops. Like, it was a real fucking hassle. And I didn't have any empathy for the people, no compassion or understanding. So the end result was, fuck me, fuck you. And I got fucked, and my whole shit got erased. So flash forward back to the We Woke mural, when the guy was telling me that the people in the area had a problem with shit that I painted, my awakened side was like, yo, bro, you're repeating patterns. This is the same shit. You're repeating patterns, and you're not going to be compassionate. You're not going to be understanding when the same shit got your whole shit erased. You being an asshole got your whole shit erased, and here you are being an asshole again. So I take a breath and be like, you know what? I need to stop being so fucking defensive. I need to be understanding of the people of the community, man. This artwork isn't in my sketchbook for me to take home. It's not my artwork. I'm giving it to these people. And here I am acting like I don't care what these people think about the artwork. So I had to really tone it down. I had to fucking meditate on this shit, man. I had to go within and be like, you know what? I understand. They're not mad about the message. They're mad that I said money is your God. Because God is a very personal word, man. God, like, I'm insulting God to these people. So what I had to do was rephrase it in a way that still conveyed the message, but wasn't so offensive to these people. And I reworded it, and I put, you worship money. Because the point of people treating it like a god is because it's getting worshipped like a fucking god. But the word worship, even though it can also be associated with church, is much less personal to people.
Yeah.
You know, because if you say that you worship something, that could be anything. But to say it's your God, that's God. And people who don't feel like breaking down the fucking art piece like it's some kind of metaphor, they're going to just be upset with the fact that I'm misusing their God. So I did change it, and I changed it, and I was like, you know what, man, you're right, bro. I stopped defending it, because at first I was defensive. Then when I came back, I was like, you know what, man, this is for the people. I need to be understanding and accepting of that. So I was able to step into my yin and be accepting and be supportive, because, you know, you need to be supportive of what the people feel. You know, that's the funny thing about, see, art can be whatever, but street art is a little bit different because you're giving it. You know, this ain't in my gallery, and it's not just for me, and it's not mine that you guys are paying to see. It's the opposite. It's something that is mine that I'm giving to whoever the fuck wants to stop by and see it. So yeah, so this mural taught me a very fucking personal lesson, and I know it's still up, and I know it ain't been fucked up. To this day, I know it's still good.
That's awesome to hear. I mean,
Yeah, it lasted like a month, man, like a month.
yeah, that's a beautiful piece. There's just so much you can take from it.
Yeah, you know, that's what I like about it. It's like the more you look, the more you might be able to catch it, because, you know, it's like a cityscape, which is kind of like Times Square. It's like a big raging city. You know, once you realize a thing or two about this world, once you get your yin, because it's a lot of people, if I can, a lot of people they'll read something, and it'll be some deep information, man. It could even be something spiritual, of the soul, of the psyche, or it could be something more earthly, like knowledge of food, or it could be just any type of information. And they will take this information, and they will not digest it properly to themselves, or they will not apply it in their own life, or they will not do anything with this information. So the information remains outside of themselves, because they don't get to experience it firsthand. So it just becomes this secondhand information. And what people do with it is they'll just tell others about it. And this secondhand information that is outside of yourself, which essentially is yang, because you're not bringing it inside. You're not applying it. You're not practicing it. You're not living it. So this information, it could be other people's facts, or other people's stories, or other people's anything. And they're just passing along this other people's stuff through themselves with this confidence like it's their own. And it gets very misleading, because until you apply it, it can't be your own. That's why when we were talking about the old Reiki lineages, and, you know, this guy with the Taoism, this 18th generational shit, and how after a certain point, it becomes almost like it'll branch off and become its own thing. And it's its own thing because these people applied all of this information. They didn't just read it, write it, and recite it. They applied it to the point where they were like, oh yeah, this is what worked well for him. But you know what, doing this, if I just do it a little bit like this is what works for me. And then the application is what transforms and gets knowledge even greater. But people are always forgetting that application, that yin, you know, that inward, that whole fucking side of themselves. And they're just and they're just recycling information, and they don't even know if it works for them. But they're just telling everyone else about it like it's the holy grail. And it's like, yo, but did you sip from that cup? How's it feel? Did it hurt your teeth? Did it give you acid reflux? What did it do for you? And they're like, nah, but it says this, that. And I'm just like, yo, man, I want to know about you, man. Who do I contact to know about you? Do you have a secretary? How do I get in touch with you? And it gets so hard, man.
So oh man, okay. So remember how you said earlier, like the world right now, and like the way that the system has it structured is to be like really yang. So I want to get a little bit into the religious side of things, and where you
Okay.
see that they try to yang the whole scriptures and teachings of Christ, for example. They
Yeah.
try to really yang it. They try to make you just look outward and not actually follow in the footsteps and apply the wisdom and teachings that Christ left behind, which
hmm
that yin, which is bring it inward, meditating on the wisdom and actually applying it to your everyday life and walking in it.
Yeah, exactly, man. The confusion occurs when they act like that was all Jesus. Praise Jesus. Jesus did this. Jesus. And then that way you put all of this magic outside of yourself and you're like, oh, I ain't Jesus. I can't do none of that. And that's the deceit, man. That is the deceitful part of it because, the yang or the information is great, but if you don't bring it within, then the information to you is hollow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's why I have a neighbor. I have a neighbor and just moved to North Carolina. I don't know if you're, okay, just moved to North Carolina. I don't know if you're familiar, but this is the Bible Belt. So there are quite a religious folk down here. So I got a neighbor who's got signs on his yard, and I believe he's a pastor. And he has signs on his yard, and they're scriptures. And there's 4 quotes. And I noticed that none of them are about the principles. One of them says, fear the word of God, or something like that, where it's like, not the principle, but the guy. It's like branding, bro. It's fucking branding. It's branding. Well, it's not love, it's God's love. And another one's like, oh, one day ye shall meet the Lord himself. But it's like, what about the Lord? What makes him so fucking miraculous you want to meet him? What's the point? What is the point of these signs other than to scare me or to push me towards the Lord? But what about the Lord makes him so fucking Lord magical? What about him? Where's the point? And none of it is about like love or treat your, none of it is anything good except for the fear programming. And it's just, I'm only using those 4 quotes the neighbor has. Because I'm like, yo, he's a pastor. It should be something uplifting, but it's like guilt-driven messages.
mm-hmm.
And I'm like, damn, man, damn. Meet the Lord or go to hell.
Yeah. But I don't want to get too deep in that side of things.
Right? It's just, but so let me bring a little optimistic spin so I don't sound like a cynic, because let me yin this yang a little bit, And all those principles, once we apply them to ourselves, they cross over into all different religions, because the core of most religions is knowledge of self. And even before religions were a thing, the core of knowledge was internal, alchemy and all that stuff. That's all very, very, very ancient teachings and practicings that, when it boils down to, is just inside of yourself. And the inside is the yin side. Oh, damn, that's bars right there. The inside is the yin side. And because of that, you need application, because you can't pass on secondhand knowledge and not know how it affects you. But that is a more modern times. That's how we are, that's how we're kind of kept in like a pack, because we're all following this outside information. Nobody's applying it to themselves to see if it suits or not. Because a lot of this shit we might just discard if we realize it doesn't really work for us. But we don't do the working for us part. That part is skipped. And we're just like, oh no, it's gotta be true because everyone else is saying it's true. But yeah, everyone else is saying it's true because this one source convinced everyone. But yet no one's trying,
Right.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really pride myself on is experiencing things for myself.
Right.
That's why I've just been so sold on meditation now, and switching over to a plant-based diet,
Right.
things like that. And it's it's funny because like I'll be at work or I'll be somewhere and people will be like thinking that I'm like this weird guy or like crazy because I meditate and I eat plant-based, I don't eat meat and stuff like that. But it's
Right.
you would understand though if you just tried and experienced meditation or tried
Mm.
eating plant-based for like a week or two and you would understand exactly why I'm actually doing it. Like I'm not doing it just because like, oh, why not? I want to be weird. I want to be not like everybody else. Like, no, I'm doing it because it's making my life so much better.
Right, the way it feels, man. That the results of the application. The application is so important.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So this is some of your newer art. I see
Right.
these characters with meditation going on.
Yeah. And that Sonic, man, I wanna point out a little bonus thing just in case you didn't realize. But yo, I love Sonic, and the best, not the best, but the illest moment in the whole Sonic game is when he becomes Super Sonic and he gets golden and he can fucking fly. He's Super Saiyan Sonic, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, as we spoke about earlier, you know, when you max out your yin, it turns into yang. In this picture, you know, Sonic is meditating his fucking ass off to the point where he's becoming Super Saiyan Sonic. It's happening right there. He's starting to transform from his crown down. Because when you're in that zone, man, that crown chakra is popping. So I had to make him transforming because,
I
you
like.
know, that's the move.
I really like how you man, you're just so creative with it, and you really draw back the memories. Like I really like how in the background you have that hillside grass area. You know, like how back. I remember back when I was playing on my Sega Game Gear. Not sure if you had one of those.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Of those little big ass Game Gears.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember
But
specifically.
color. It had color.
Yeah, I remember specifically the like the stage or the background. It would be like that hilly, like you go super fast down and then up. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, Sonic is like my childhood memories, bro. Like when I was young, I wanted, and you know what, too, man. My mom was a G, man, because I wanted Sega so bad when I was young. I didn't have any systems. Sega was my first like real system, or was it Nintendo? Well, this is my memory about Sega. Sega, I wanted it so freaking badly, man. I thought Sonic was so cool when I seen them commercials. It was for my 13th birthday, and I had school the next day. It was a regular weekday. Yo, my mom spent the whole night in the bathroom, and I thought she had stomach issues because from time to time she would blowing balloons. So that way, when I woke up, there was balloons everywhere, and I had a Sega, and I woke up to a Sega Genesis. I was like, ah! So like in my heart, man, Sonic is like one of the my childhood pleasures that
Hmm.
I will always be top ranked to me. So I had to make it feel like Sonic, you know?
Yeah, I love Sonic.
Yeah, for
Uh,
real.
so this is your latest one, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, that one. See, when it, I've almost I've almost maxed out of my meditation stuff because at this point I want to do a little bit more. I mean, I think it's important to meditate, but I think you got to do something with all that chi, man. Once you meditate, you get all that chi. What the hell are you doing with that chi? So I kind of want to take the drawings into another creative outlet. I don't want to just, I felt like I wanted to do more. I was feeling a little bit creatively slumped. And this is funny too, man, because I'm at work and thankfully at my job, I get a lot of downtime in between things. I'm talking about downtime, like maybe 2 hours downtime where I ain't got to do shit. No one expects me to do shit. We're just waiting on the next flight and I could kind of just chill.
Hmm.
So I had my tablet with me to draw on and I'm just like I want to draw yang, but I don't have no type of idea. I don't know what to draw. Yin, I had no yin. I wanted to draw, but I didn't have, I was empty. I was drawing blanks here. And I didn't know what to do. And one of my coworkers, I looked like I was staring off at the wall, deep in thought. And he looks and he's like, Hey, you look like you're in pretty deep thought there, man. And I was like, I am, Ken, I am. I'm trying to draw something, but I have no idea what's. And he was like, you know what you could do? You could just get on the Google and image search some stuff, and then you'll have lots of drawings, and you won't even have to draw it at all. You could skip the drawing part and just you can have the drawings. And he said it joking around, obviously. But I was like, you know what? I could get on Google and just see what there is. Maybe I'll find some inspiration because I wanted to draw, but I didn't have anything to draw. So I went and I Googled cartoons. So I can get as broad a search as possible. And
Mm.
I saw characters, and then I saw some artist, man. It was a deviant art page. So I know it was original art from some artist, and he took all the Looney Tunes and turned them to humans. But they look just like them, but like humans. Like, oh, this is fucking dope. I was like, damn, this is the type of art I like. It's like a mashup. It's creative. I'm all about it. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should fuck around with some Looney Tunes because I don't think I really did any Looney Tunes. And Looney Tunes is also part of my childhood that I love.
Yeah.
So maybe I should. And Daffy was like one of my favorites. But aside from being one of my favorites, usually with the meditation drawings, I'm drawing either characters that are zen as fuck or like, for example, I did Patrick from SpongeBob. Patrick is so dumb, like he don't have no thoughts. So he is already a meditation master because he don't gotta silence his thoughts. He don't have any. So I was like, that's a perfect guy to make meditating. So as I'm thinking about Looney Tunes, I'm like, Daffy was always fucking mad at Bugs, always screaming and yelling. I was like, Daffy needs to chill out. I need to make Daffy chill out a little bit. So then as I look for Daffy, I get some images of Donald. Because, Daffy Duck and Donald Duck, man, they were like two sides of the same coin because they were both always pissed. And then one is black. So they're kind of like, even though they have the same characteristics, the fact that they're like opposite brands and they're opposite colors kind of puts them in a way yin yang from each other. And I was like, oh shit, man, that would be like fucking perfect to do some yin yang, like opposite but the same. So in my head, I'm like, all right, what's opposite but like the same? What's like opposing but in the same thing? And I'm thinking like how playing cards have the one card but the two images on it. So I was like, I could do like a playing card of these two fucking guys being opposite. So the idea was the bulk of the work of the idea took place on the creative stage. It was all in my head. It was all in the heart. It was like having fun. It was imagining. It was all visual. And then once I was able to figure it out on the yin platform, I had to take it yang and bring it to life. Mm-hmm. So I used to draw these guys a lot when I was young, man. So it's not too hard to draw these guys for me, So, I mean, I've never seen them meditating. So you got to take the creative liberties and draw them how you see fit because they're both actually sharing the same legs. They got different feet, but their legs are merged because, they're the same. Aren't we all essentially the same anyway?
Yeah.
I had to yin around with that one. And Tom and Jerry's another one because they're always mad. So I needed to make them be a little bit more calm, man, So I usually take characters that kind of ring true to my heart and also could use a little bit of meditation, man. So yeah, that one rings true to my heart especially. Yeah, because there's just we gotta have the balance, man. We gotta have the yin and we gotta have the yang. Mm-hmm. Like the way I use this perspective best, and I mean 100% best, is in real life because just like I say, applying it is very important. I apply it not just to art, not just to conversations. I apply it everywhere. Like for example, I was at work, and at work, I'm totally new there. And I realized I thought I was like a yin person, but I'm really balanced, man, because when I'm forced to be fully yin, like I need certain yang characteristics. Like I need to know what the fuck's going on. I can't just trust the universe. I get a little fidgety when I don't know at least a little bit. I have not reached 100% yin peak, nor have I reached 100% yang. I'm way more like in my yin. I have a lot. My yin muscle is a lot stronger than my yang muscle. But with balance, I feel most comfortable, but I need to flex them both, because if you're in a situation like at work, I'm new there. So I was put in a new place with having a new task. And this new task didn't come with no type of real training, didn't come with a whole lot of instruction. It's a new area, so it doesn't come with a lot of experience from me. And these are key things that I need usually at least 1 out of 5 to function at well. I need to either have experience in the field, or I need to at least have instructions to know what I'm doing. I need to know something before I just can be okay with it, you know? So I'm working in a new area, and I had a couple questions for one of the coworkers, and there's only a few of us. There's a handful of us. And we in the South, man. So these guys, they're very yang, man. They're balanced though, because they're yin. Like it's slow paced down here, man. So they could wait, but they're not they're yin as far as time, because they're not in a rush, but they're not yin as far as supportive. Like they're not gonna have a yin, they're not gonna just bear open their emotions. You know, the part that they're good with yin is the pace. They're very yin paced. So I'm there, and I'm seeing, and I'm in a new place, man. I'm working on a ship. I've never even been on a ship. I'm working inside the ship in the hall. There's cranes, they're digging shit. It's like a construction place in a ship. It's a very unique situation for me. I've never been there. So I'm asking the guy, I'm like, yo, so what do we got to do? It's like, oh, just clean up this part over here. So I clean up this part over here, but then I'm like, well, now what? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do next? So I ask him what to do next, and he's like, man, you need to fucking watch and learn, man. If you watch and you learn, you'll see what happens next. You don't got, listen, I ain't no teacher. I can't be explaining everything. I ain't no teacher. So I'm like, wow, this guy's yang as fuck right now. I was like, I could either be yang back and let him know that I need to know shit, because I don't know what the fuck is going on. I need to be explained something here. But I was like, then we're just gonna be 2 men screaming at each other inside a fucking construction zone in a ship. There's not exactly a lot of escape there. There's a lot of testosterone flowing, and I got to work with this guy for a couple more hours. It don't seem like an ideal predicament to be in. So I was like, you know what? I can use this situation to yin the fuck out and observe, because he ain't no teacher. He ain't gonna tell me nothing. He can't even do it. On the second question, this guy lost his mind. So I was like, obviously I can't dive into question 3, 4, and 5. So let me dive into understanding that I'll be the observer. Because when you're yin, you're in your heart. When you're in your heart, you're present. When you're present, you can observe what goes on. You could be there. The reason I need to know these things is because they're head qualities. They're yang things. They're details that I need to know in order to feel okay. So it's my head convincing my heart to be okay. It's like, yo, if you know the instructions, if you know what this is like, and if you've had experience here, then your heart can be calm and I can function well. But I got to learn to function well regardless, because I got to bring it down into just the yin. So I'm like, all right, here's an opportunity, because I wasn't given my yang comfort shit. So I got to be yin in the situation in order to get by. So I was like, all right. I do this. And I did what was told of me. And then I would just kind of sit back and observe. And in the process of observing, I had all my questions answered. It was just in a less timely fashion, because all the questions I had were because I wasn't seeing what was going on. But once I took it back and I yinned, and I was like, all right, let me see what the fuck is going on, I didn't have no more questions. And I didn't bother this motherfucker, because I'm like, yo, I can't really, this guy is not open to my shit right now, so I'm gonna just let him be. And once I took a yin stance, he talked to me about what I should be doing. And he me. And it's not that I was doing wrong, but he refined what I should have been doing, where those are what the questions would have done. So we got, either way would have taken us there. Either asking questions and getting answers would have brought me understanding, or doing it and being told how to do it would have got me understanding. It's how you want to get there. You can either get there through yin or you can get there through yang, but you're going to get there regardless. So a lot of times it's knowing how to get there. So if you're somebody who's used to getting there only through yang, only through instructions and understanding and blah, 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 when you meet a motherfucker like who I encountered, you're not going to be able to have the balance to get through the situation. There's just going to be two people fucking yelling and nobody listening. And it's going to be off balanced. I try my very best to be at 100% of something. So if this guy is ODing and he's like 70% yang, I can only give 30% yang. So I got to give a counter 70% yin. I have to be at least 70% yin to get by in this situation. So there are people who don't know how to be that yin, and they fucking yell back, and then they're at 200% yang. But if you're over 100% on anything, it's fucked up. Like if you're 100% yin, and you're meeting with another 100% yin, like that group of artists, you ain't never gonna yang no art, and it's imbalance in the negative way. While if you're two yang people and you're yelling at each other, that's imbalance in a positive way because it's too much. So it's just about balance. So now I peep people for where they are in their yin yang balance. Like for example, if I see a child is upset, but I can tell that he's not going to talk, I have to kind of, if I can see that he is overly yin, but doesn't have the yang skills to speak about his emotions or express them in some kind of way, then I know I have to be overly yang to get him. I have to just counter him. Whatever he's being, I got to be the opposite in a way, but not in an aggressive way, in a way that meets in the middle. Because there are people who are like, yo, it's either like this or like that. And those people are like toxic. You could be toxic feminine as well as toxic masculine, because it's fine when there's union. So if people aren't trying to meet anywhere, then it's toxic. So if I see that this child is too yin in his feelings, then I can be yang, but not in a, boy, get over your fucking feelings, not in that way, but in a meeting him way, where I can talk and I can speak and I can express to him how he can bring his yin outside. Like I can help him work his expression by working my emotions to get him to, you know, it's kind of cycle. It's like we feed each other in that way, you know? So what I do is I observe how shit is and what percentage of yin and yang is, so I can see what percentage of my yin and yang gotta be. And then I meet the situation. So I'm all types of me. I'm not always one way, because sometimes this one way is a problem. Like for example, at work, this in North Carolina, man, I have not met many vegans or anyone who is even health conscious, really, or anything like that. So at work, there's a small group of us, and we eat. And I don't want to mention the fact that but like I don't want to be vegan. I don't want to be the obnoxious vegan.
Yeah.
It's very easy to become that way, and I don't want to be that guy, especially around people who don't even get it or don't have any information on it. You know, so I'm very passive with my shit. I'm very yin. I don't need to be yang about the way I eat. All I got to do is eat how I want to eat. And that's on me. And as long as I'm in charge of me, then I'm good. But yo, like I'll talk to other people, they're kind, they offer me food. I'll be like, oh no, thanks, I'm good, you know. And I don't even get into it, yo. Like I don't even get into it. If it has like fucking cheese on it, be like, nah, cheese will fuck up my stomach. That's it. Boop. I don't want to have to talk, man. I don't want to get into it. But I've been outed as a vegan from one of the people there, because I was talking to her and she offered me some Doritos. And I was like, no, and then she throws this line at me. She's like, you seem like the guy who doesn't even care what he eats. And I was like, you're actually pretty wrong about that one. She was like, nah, you don't even care what you eat. I was like, you know how much I care about I eat, man? I'm vegan. That's how much I care about the fuck I eat. So, but then she outed me, and she was like, oh, guess what? Gary's vegan. But not in a bad way, but I'm a rare sight. I'm like a fucking unicorn. And then got all these questions. Girls eat chicken. And she's like, am I offending you right now?
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, listen, man, I live and let live. I let you live. You guys can do whatever it is that you'd like to do. I'm here doing what I'd like to do. And that's how I am generally as a person. So that's how I'm going to be as a vegan. That's how I'm going to be as an artist. That's how I'm going to be as everything that I am. I try to live and let live. Sometimes I may lose my shit, but that's the same with all things. But with this, trust me, I'm going to let you guys live. I don't have no problem with you guys eating what you want. You guys want to ask me questions? Go ahead, man. but I'm not going to be over the top with it because it's a yang environment. So in order to get by with 100%, I got to be yin in order to be okay. I can't be yang about my shit because these are not people who are going to listen because they already don't know, you know? So they're not, you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So in order to get by in a situation, I see what percentage it's at and what percentage I got to be at. And if I'm able to do that, then everything is okay. If for example, let's say it's a position, a person who is 100% yin, can't decide nothing. Like, let's say how women, when you got to decide what to eat. So, right. And you got to decide, they don't care what to eat, right? They don't care. So you got to be like, boom, we're going to eat this. You got to, boom, you got to fucking decide right then and there. Sometimes I'm not always that good because I care about what she's going to eat. I can't be like, yo, we're going to have this. We're going to eat what I want to eat.
Yeah.
Because, yo, I'm considerate towards their shit. But then that leads us to taking for a long time to decide some shit. And then, you know, I obviously got some restrictions. So it takes time. I can't be 100% yang with it because, I don't know, man. That might be my lesson on this earth because I haven't been there yet and I'm not there yet. And I can't even go 100% yin, but I can go a lot higher yin than I can get yang. Because when I start getting all yang, then I start being too compassionate and it brings me down. You know, I can't be a fucking warlord because then you know, I don't know. I'm not there yet. Maybe next life I'll be a fucking dictator and I'll be like, oh, this is what I've been missing. No wonder I came back again. I'm gonna fuck some shit up. But I don't know.
Like you were just saying right there with the whole deciding on what to eat thing. Um, Sometimes I feel like, you know, when we don't go to yang and just decide, I feel like it also opens up the opportunity for the other to kind of build up more of that yang energy for their own self.
Right, yeah, because sometimes you can't change nobody, but you can inspire some. And if they see a softness in you that they're like, I can't be like I'll tell you, for example, the same conversation with the vegan shit. The chick who put me on blast for being vegan, in our same conversation, she was like, so what do you, this is what she goes. She goes, I don't understand how cheese hurts animals. And she didn't say it to be aggressive, but she said it from a place of like no knowledge. Like she has no idea how that could work. So instead of me being the obnoxious vegan and be like, yo, I'll show you on YouTube, bitch. I'll show you tons of videos. I just took the stance and I was like, well, you know, milk comes from mothers, and I've just seen too many videos, man. I've seen too many videos of. I don't want to get. Not even talking about slaughtering. None of any of that. Like I've seen videos of farmers in their trucks taking the baby cows away, and then the moms chasing them down. They're crying. The moms are crying, chasing down. All they want is their kid, and they're taking it away to give you milk, to give you cheese. And she goes, "Oh my God, you're making me want to be a vegan. Stop!" And I was like, "Yeah, bitch, that's my point." Because the compassion, I feel like compassion is a stronger muscle. I also feel like the heart is stronger than the mind. So I feel like yin makes a bigger difference than yang because you could force someone to change, but even if they change their actions, that may not change their beliefs. And actions without beliefs are very hollow and they don't stick the same way.
Yeah. Man, a lot of good keys that you've shared with this.
Yeah, man. You better send me a couple screenshots of something because I want to post some posts.
I'm definitely going to be utilizing that yin and yang perspective throughout things now. I definitely know it's going to be popping up in my mind. Just like when I'm in conversations or like potential arguments or something with people, I want to definitely notice now, like, oh, wow, they're really yang right now. So I'm just going to yin. And something I noticed too is like someone gets like really aggressive or just very loud and stuff like that, very yang. I notice if I just go like kind of quiet, don't really say anything, don't react to them like they want, and you're very yin, like sooner or later, or just walk away, like sooner or later, they'll just like come back down to their senses and then they'll be back in that yin.
Right, yeah.
Like, I really didn't mean like that, I know, like this and that.
Yeah, Exactly. Because yeah, they got sometimes people do it on their own and they refuse to be guided there. Like I had this I got a family member who was just he was in such a bad place in his existence that every time that we would be next to each other that he would just talk shit and it was just he was like a storm of negativity. And I tried to bring balance to him. Like at some point, I was like, listen, man, I tried to be balanced. I tried to meet him where he was at, but he wouldn't budge from where he was at. There was no understanding. You couldn't get any yin inside of him. There was no understanding. He was just a fireball. And yin of the two, yin and yang, yin is water, yang is fire. Because yin is cool and can be calm. Of course, as you know about fire, it can also be a wave. It can strike, or should I say, water. That's the power of water. But just like fire is constantly going.
Great.
But you
Yeah.
can have a fire burning like embers. That's like a calm fire. Because every yin has a yin and yang. And every yang got a yin and yang too. But with this family member, I would try to bring some yin to his yang so he could understand. But he was not budging. He was 100% yang. 100% yang. And I tried to talk to him, I tried to interact, but when someone is 100% yang, that's overactive. That's all they're doing everything. So the only way to get by with someone like that is to do nothing. So I acted like I was nothing to him. If he would act up, I was gone. I was like a ghost, bro. I was so much yin, you would have thought I was a spirit. You would have been like just hear me with the wind. Like, where is he? Where did he go? Like I was like I disappeared. Like because he was so active, I had to be inactive in order to get by in the situation. Because even when I would be 10% yang and just try to speak to him, he was not 10% yin to listen. So I just had to remove myself from all encounters with him. And we got by that way. That was the only way we could get by. And I was like, wow, it's a shame that he can't be anything else other than a raging fireball all the time. Because he's missing so many parts of himself. Fuck me, man. I could do it. I'm all right. But he's missing out all these different parts of himself. And he don't even want to realize.
Mm-hmm.
But bro, it's time that I got to get going. Woo, this is a good long one, man. This is a good long one.
Oh yeah. Wow. That was amazing. Thank you for all that information and sharing your experiences to kind of correlate and give, real life reality examples of the yin and yang in different scenarios.
That's some yin in.
And as always, man, I love your art, and I'm glad that I was able to kind of share it a little bit and hear more deeply into the how the art came about. That was very interesting, very cool to hear about.
Thank
But yeah, thank you for your time, and very grateful to be able to hold this space for you, to be able to express and share. And I definitely got to learn some good things from you.
Thank you, my brother. It's been an absolute pleasure, man. I love talking about this shit, so I can't always talk about it with people who are interested. So you did me a great service. Thank you.
You're welcome. I look forward to what else is in store.
Yeah, if at any point you look over this and you're like, oh man, I wanna touch on this or that. If I've sparked any ideas or questions or whatever, and you want to do a part 2 or whatever, I'm with it, man.
Oh, absolutely. For
Word.
sure. All right, brother. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your day, and
Thanks.
I will talk to you soon.
All right, you too, man. Send me some clips. These are good.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Take
And I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to another Sacred Light conversation. That was Mr. abILLity, and I will be posting his Instagram on the bottom information underneath my YouTube video. Wholeness, balance, love, vibrations.
The illest to be, no ego, machismo with fuego. Kundalini is my payroll, saucy like queso. Watch me with a wrist, no watch, only crystal bracelets. Yeah, we stay lit. Yeah, we stay lit. We woke. There's rich